There's a lot of objectives and goals that I want to achieve in my fitness journey, right? And when I try and consider the variety that I'm trying to pursue, there comes a time and point where I need to balance stuff out, right? Specifically regarding my YouTube channel, there's a lot where I balance between calisthenics and free weights, right? Now, when I really got into weightlifting, when I started to get into bench press and more so just like the big three movements, right? So like the squat, deadlift, and bench, you know, it's really addicting at the start, mainly because I was able to transfer a lot of my fundamental strength due to calisthenics and build that to practice the skills of the bench press and like the squat, right? And when you consider it, when you try and adapt that base strength into directly applying it to that motion of the bench press, it becomes very methodical and it starts to manifest itself as a skill rather than a display of strength, right? Or rather, you can consider strength as a display of skill, all right? And when I think about this, specifically the objectives of what I want with the squat, I kind of think to myself that the main thing I really want to be doing is, I really want to be pushing and getting a heavier squat, right? Ideally, I wanted to push for a 160 kilo squat without changing my body weight too much, right? Now, if I purely was focusing on increasing my squat, then obviously I'll be in a calorie surplus. I'll do everything I can in order to attain that goal, right? But there comes a balance. I don't want to be gaining too much weight, or else I'm going to be compromising my calisthenics, right? Simply because calisthenics relies on body weight, leverages, and particularly if with regards to the planche, where a lot of your leverages relies on your leg length, your leg weight, and all that such, then if I do more squats and a lot of my stimulus comes down to contracting and doing exercises in my legs, then obviously I'm going to gain more weight in those regions, gain more muscle mass, even though it may only be a few 100 grams or so, right? That still makes a large difference in the planche. And because of that, a lot of my progress it's slow progress, or at least it's a progress that is not rapid compared to other people, right? And this isn't really something I'm too concerned with, because my squat progression has always been rather broken, specifically because it was a bit absurd how frequently I squatted, the experimenting I did, particularly regarding high intensity, high frequency, both combined together. And that only leads to poor form, pushing hard and hard, heavy weights, and eventually injuring yourself, right? So I've had minor injuries, things that took me off guard, and I didn't squat for a week or two, right? And it's always those small weeks where I don't squat that kind of pushes me a bit down, and just maintains my strength, not necessarily progressing anymore in the heavier weights, right? Now, the max I have actually squatted was 120 kilos for a rep, for a set of 5, right? I never pushed beyond that, and it's been a while since I've actually tested that, right? Tested my peak strength. And in that sense, I guess it makes me feel as though I don't really have a clear pathway of what I want to be doing with squatting. For now, at least, I feel like I've got stuff on track. I'm slowly building into the squat. I'm slowly building into doing 3 squat sessions per week. Right now, I'm only doing about 2 to 3. And I'm taking it very easy. If I go heavy weights, the max I'll do is 100 kilos, about 80% of my run rep max. And I'll just work on doing very low reps, ranges, short sets. And if I want to put in the volume, I'll just do very lightweight, 60 kilos for a set of 10 to 20, right? And because of that, I guess it's slowly introducing me to building up for those heavyweights and those more intense sessions where I'm going to be adding a lot of volume, right? High reps, high volume, high weight, right? And in that sense, I guess when it comes down to it, like the biggest part, the biggest point, or like the region of my squat that I need to be concerned of is my lower back, right? A lot of my problems, or I guess the minor flaws from the squat, comes down to my lower back. And in that sense, like I need to be working a lot of supplementary exercises that really try and build up that lower back. And whenever I tried like heavy deadlifts and such, right, the next day I always have a rather sore back, right? And when I consider that, it's like I check my form, I see myself doing it, and everything seems all good. In the moment, it seems fine completely. Like it seems ideal, right? The form, straight back, no excessive anterior pelvic tilt, no hyperflexion, no like rounding. And it seems fine, but I still get a bit of pain in my lower back. And I think I can attribute this due to the very extensive hip hinge that I do, especially with the Romanian deadlifts, right? And in that sense, there's a lot of posterior chain engagement that I need to be aware of, specifically my erectors, right? And I try to specifically aim at this flaw and this weak link, right? And that was by doing hyperextensions, right? Recently, I've been doing more hyperextensions, and I've been feeling a lot better in my lower back region, especially when I'm doing squats. I hardly feel any discomfort, and it just feels very safe, rigid, and stiff, right? Stiff in a good manner while I'm doing the tense may be the better term for that. But in that sense, right, I've been working on the posterior and the anterior regions of my torso. So like the back alongside a lot of ab workout, because again, the core is the integrity of the whole squat. If you don't have a strong core, then you're not going to have a strong stabilizer. You're not going to have strong base, and therefore you're not going to lift heavy weights with proper form. And because of that, I'm thinking of slowly building it up and then getting used to that frequency, getting used to that volume and that constant intensity, right? Slowly conditioning myself up to that. So when I consider like that objective, or like how I'm approaching the squat progression compared to like my other exercises, it kind of makes me wonder like how well could I progress if I purely focus on the squat? Or like how well could I progress in calisthenics if I only focus on upper body, right? And obviously, putting all your eggs in one basket is not necessarily the ideal thing you want to go for unless you are going for a specificity, right? If it's your career, if it's something that you're only striving for, then sure, absolutely. That's like one of the best ways. You got to focus on one particular group exercise in order to get better at that particular movement, right? And because of that, I think that balance is where I want to see, well, how can I maximize the efficiency and effectiveness of progression while balancing all of this stuff? So those are just like the main things I wanted to think about and, express. So that's basically it, and I'll finish it off here.